بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Women Around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Today we will attempt to talk about two great women. One is the last of his wives, and the other is the first of his daughters. So Maimonah bint Alharith ibn Hazn, the mother of the believer and the wife of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, her mother is Hind bint Auf, and it was known among the Arabs that she, that is Hind bint Auf, was among the most honorable in-laws a woman could have. She had 9 daughters from different husbands, which is by itself normal in Arabia. A woman can be widowed, divorced, and continue to marry and to live a life. Unlike what we think of women today, if a woman is divorced, then she's expired. If a woman is a widow, nobody looks at her, which is totally against Islamic values and against logic. Women can marry and marry and marry without any problem. This is the cycle of life. Hind bint Auf had 9 daughters. Among those who married her daughters were 2 uncles of the Prophet ﷺ, Al-Abbas and Hamza. Hamza marrying Salma bint Umays, Al-Abbas marrying Lubaba al-Kubra, the grand Lubaba. Why were there a minor Lubaba? Yes, there was Lubaba al-Sughra. There were 2 sisters. Lubaba al-Kubra was married to Al-Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. She was also known by al-Fadl. And Lubaba al-Sughra was married to Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, one of the fierce enemies of Islam, who was killed and died as a kafir. But his son was the sword of Allah Azza wa Jal, Khalid ibn al-Walid. So the Prophet ﷺ was married to Khalid's aunt. And also 2 of the Prophet's cousins were married to her daughters. So Ja'far ibn Abi Talib and Ali ibn Abi Talib, they both married Asma bint Umays. Ja'far was martyred in the Battle of Mu'tah. Then afterwards, she got married to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and after Abu Bakr died, Ali ibn Abi Talib married her. And the Prophet ﷺ himself married 2 of Hind bint Auf's daughters. The first one we talked about was the mother of the believers, Zainab bint Khuzaymah, may Allah be pleased with her. And then he married Maimonah bint Alharith, may Allah be pleased with her. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, the believing sisters are Maimonah, the wife of the Prophet, her sister al-Fadl bint al-Harith, and her sister Salma bint al-Harith, the wife of Hamza, and Asma bint Umays, their sister from their mother's side. So if I made a mistake earlier saying that Salma bint Umays, well, this hadith indicates that she was Salma bint al-Harith, despite some of the books of history that calls her Salma bint Umays as well. Now, when the Prophet married Maimonah alayhi salatu wasalam, he married her about 3.5 years before his death. And he married her because of the advice of his uncle, Al-Abbas, who told him to marry his wife's younger sister, She was married first, then she married another man, and he died. When she became a widow, Al-Abbas advised the Prophet ﷺ to marry her, and the Prophet took this advice and married Maimonah. Her name was Barra, and again he changed her name into Maimonah because Barra is praising by saying, my name is righteous, pious person. So he changed it into Maimonah, which means blessed. And by marrying her, her tribe came into Islam in groups, because now the Prophet is married ﷺ to one of their people, and they came, Bani Hilal came into Islam and supported Islam greatly. Maimonah, may Allah be pleased with her, was married to the Prophet ﷺ in Saraf, and she died some 40 plus years later in the same spot she married the Prophet ﷺ, and was buried there, and she was 80 years of age. That was in the 51st year of Hijrah. So after 40 years of the death of the Prophet ﷺ, lived with the Prophet only for 3 years and a half, yet gained the honor of this life and in the hereafter by being the mother of the believers, that no one would ever mention her name without saying, may Allah Azza wa Jal be pleased with her. And she's also the wife of our Prophet ﷺ in Jannah, radiyallahu anha wa ardaha. And now we move to the first daughter of the Prophet ﷺ, a woman known for her wisdom, known for her excellent lineage. No one can surpass her when it comes to honor and lineage. She's the daughter of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the prophet and messenger of Allah Azza wa Jal. Her mother is Khadija bint Khuwaylid, the one we know a lot about. She was the eldest of the Prophet's 4 daughters. May Allah be pleased with them all. And she was the first one among them to get married. She was born 10 years before the revelation came to the Prophet ﷺ, which means that she was about 10 years old when the Prophet ﷺ became a prophet and a messenger. Now, having said that, when she was at the age of 10, all the dignitaries of Quraysh set eyes on her to be a potential wife to one of them, and the luckiest who would win it, who would win her heart. At the age of 10, it was her cousin, Abu al-As ibn al-Rabi'. He's the son of Halah bint Khuwaylid, the sister of Khadija, mother of the believers. May Allah be pleased with them. And he won her heart, proposed, and the Prophet gave his daughter Zainab to him in marriage. She was 10 years of age. And she gave her husband Ali and Umama. Now everybody knows only the grandsons of the Prophet ﷺ to be Al-Hasan and Hussein, the sons of Ali and Fatima, not knowing that there were others. So Ali and Umama were the children of Zainab and Abil As. Ali died when he was young, in the hadith where the Prophet carried his grandson as he was dying and started to weep, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the companions told him, how is this possible? You are weeping. And the Prophet said to them that this is mercy from Allah Azza wa Jal. This is Ali, the one who died in the hands of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. As for Umama, she grew and later on was married to Ali ibn Abi Talib on the advice and instruction of his late wife Fatima, who was her aunt, but she told him, if I die, marry Umama. Now, Zainab was among the first to accept Islam with her mother and other sisters. And when the Prophet migrated to Medina, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she stayed with her husband, Abu al-As. And Abu al-As was a very decent man. Though he was not a Muslim at the time, the way Zainab treated him, he fell in love from head to toe. And he could not think of leaving her. Because what was the school Zainab were taught in? Zainab were taught in the school of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and Khadija bint Khuwaylid. What do you expect their offspring to be? So she was loyal to him, faithful, kind, loving, caring. When she accepted Islam and Abu al-As remained on the religion of Quraysh, the people of Quraysh came to him and said to him that you are among the most trusted men to us. We deposit our wealth and money and we entrust you with our trade. So we are the dignitaries of Mecca and we are requesting that you divorce Muhammad's daughter and choose any woman from Quraysh and we will give her to you. An offer people may usually not be able to refuse, but not Abu al-As. He said, no, by Allah, where would I find a wife like Zainab? I would never do such a thing, and I would never depart or leave or separate my beloved wife. So they left him. On the second year of Hijrah, the Battle of Badr took place. And Abu al-As was with the army of the disbelievers, but he did not fight. He just accompanied his people without fighting, without participation. And this is why he was taken as a prisoner of war. When the Prophet asked for ransom, we know the story where Zainab sent her brother-in-law with money and with the necklace that Mother Khadija gave it to her on her wedding night to Abu al-As. The Prophet saw this, felt soft, and he asked the people if they were to let her prisoner go and return his ransom, then this is kind of them, and they immediately complied and they sent him away back to Mecca. The Prophet then asked him ﷺ to send his wife, that is his daughter, the Prophet's daughter Zainab, to Medina. And Abu al-As agreed. When he went to Medina, he told his beloved wife, filled with sorrow, that your father wants you beside him. So he sent her with his brother Kinana ibn Rabi'. Now, when Kinana took Zainab to take her to Medina, two of the people of Quraysh, Habbar ibn al-Aswad and Nafi' ibn Abd Amr. These two people at the time were so evil that they started attacking the camel that was carrying Zainab with their spears. And you know what happens to a big animal when being poked with a spear? It started jumping and moving violently. Zainab was pregnant at the time. Such violent moves made her miscarriage, and she bled. And she was taken back to Quraysh, left with the family of Banu Umayyah, to be specific, with Hind bint Utbah, the wife of Abu Sufyan. And the Prophet ﷺ heard of this. He sent one of his companions to extract her and bring her to Medina, which he did. The Prophet ﷺ was so angry with these two men, Habbar ibn Aswad and Nafi' ibn Abd al-Amr, to the extent that when it was the conquest of Mecca, before that, he used to send expeditions and tell them, if you meet these two men, burn them alive for what they had done to my daughter Zainab. And then the revelation comes from Allah Azza wa Jal, correcting the Prophet ﷺ and telling him that it is not permissible to burn a living creature and torturing it with fire, because this is only to Allah. So the Prophet corrected his command and said, do not burn them, rather kill them. And then Habbar later on accepted Islam and came to the Prophet ﷺ in migration and showing his repentance. What would you do if someone attacks your daughter, causes her to miscarriage? The man, I wouldn't say with the golden heart, because even this would not suffice to describe his heart, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The moment the man accepted Islam, the Prophet forgave him as if nothing had been done. And it shows you that the heart of the Prophet ﷺ was filled with forgiveness, with love, with compassion, forgiving such a person after what he had done. Now, in the second year of Hijrah, in Battle of Badr, Abu al-As was captured for the first time. 4 years later, on the sixth year of Hijrah, he was captured again. This time, he was in a caravan going to trade with Syria. When he and his wealth, they were abducted by the soldiers of Allah. When he came to Medina, he managed to seek refuge in his ex-wife, because they were separated for 4 years due to difference of religion. And she heard that, Zainab, and after Fajr prayer, she announced in the masjid, my name is Zainab, the daughter of Muhammad, and I give refuge to Abu al-As ibn al-Rabi'. So the Prophet ﷺ was shocked. And he said to the people, by Allah, this is the first time I know of this. I have no knowledge of it at all. So if you see it fit to send him with what he came with, that's up to you. As for seeking refuge, the minimum of the Muslims can give protection and refuge to anyone. So it was a first where a woman comes and gives protection to a non-Muslim, and the Muslims all abide by this pledge of protection given by a woman. So the Prophet ﷺ gave him his trade and money, nothing was missing, and he dispatched him to Mecca. Once he reached Mecca, he gave everybody their money and their wealth and their trade. And he took all that was deposited with him and gave it back to the people. And then he said to them, have I missed anyone? And they said, no, may Allah reward you. You have given us everything that we have entrusted you with. Then he said, if this is the case, then I bear witness that there is no God worthy of being worshipped except Allah, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger and servant. I did not want to embrace Islam before this time, so that you wouldn't say that I kept something for myself or I did not return the money to you. As of now, I am a Muslim. And he went back to Medina, migrating to the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet saw him ﷺ, he was happy, and he gave him his wife back without a new contract, without a new dowry. And this is a ruling in fiqh. which is when a couple who were non-Muslims, one of them, usually the wife, accepts Islam, and she is obliged to leave her husband. She cannot live with a kafir, with a non-Muslim. But if she left him for a year, for 5, for 10 years, without getting married, and after that he became a Muslim, and they wanted to go back again in marriage, they can without any marriage contract, according to this story. The Prophet ﷺ honored Zainab a lot. She was his eldest daughter. He had so much love for her. He gave her to her husband when she was 10 years of age. She believed in him, alongside with her sisters and mother. They were the first to accept Islam. And then when she was attacked by Habbar and his accomplice, and she miscarried, she kept on suffering from that, and she got sick more frequent because of that, until she died on the 8th year of Hijrah. You can imagine the feelings of the Prophet ﷺ after so many losses in his life, so many tragedies, from the death of his father while his mother was pregnant with him, from the death of his mother when he was 6 years of age, from the death of his grandfather who took care of him when he was 8, from the death of his wife Khadija, and the death of his uncle Abu Talib, and being forced to leave the most beloved country to his heart and migrate to Medina, from the treacherous treatment and the betrayals of the Jews continuously, and the undermining of the hypocrites for the attempts of spreading Islam and for da'wah, and for his personal and own tragedies and calamities. Yet he remained standing on his feet. He trusted Allah Azza wa Jal. He believed in Allah Azza wa Jal. He sought his strength only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is why he remained steadfast till the day he died. That was Zainab, the daughter of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. May Allah Azza wa Jal be pleased with her. هذا والله أعلم ونسبة العلم إليه أسلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I'm going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us through his guidance and example that Islam is complete submission to the will of Allah. For one who submits, a mere declaration or display of belief will not be taken for success, but his or her heart and soul will certainly be put to test. Allah tested the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam severely in order that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes an example for his companions to follow. Similarly, he tests the believer to see whether he lives a righteous life in accordance with the instructions and commands set by Allah, or lives according to what his desires dictate. Whether the faith he displays is firmly rooted in his heart, or is it merely on the surface. He will be tested to see whether he will continue to have faith and love of Allah when in a calamity, as he does when in comfort, whether he will continue to remember and worship him if given bounties and comforts of life, as he does when he lives a modest life, Allah will undoubtedly test him to see if his faith, trust, and love of him is unconditional, or is it conditioned upon good health and a comfortable life, free from stress and anxiety. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed us through his own example that for a righteous Muslim, this life is a testing ground where he will continue to be tested until he meets Allah. For him, tests will be conducted on earth while he lives, and not after he dies. He knows that as soon as death arrives and he steps into the next world, his tests are over. There, he only receives the result of his tests and enjoys the fruits of the deeds that he committed during a short span of time called life.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. Ahmed says, when a person stays in the masjid after Fajr to pray Ishraq, must he sit in the same spot, or can he change his spot and go from one place to another in the masjid? It's an issue of dispute. Some scholars say that he must remain in the same spot. He doesn't move. But the most authentic opinion is that as long as he is within the parameters of the masjid, it is permissible for him to stand up and go and lean back on a pillar to rest his back, or to go to somewhere where there is more light or more seclusion for him to make dhikr. There is no problem in that, insha'Allah. Amin says, is it permissible to invest in sukuk bonds in Islamic bank? What is sukuk bonds? Sukuk bonds is the Islamic alternative for normal bonds, whether prize bonds or normal bonds. What are bonds? Bonds are document that is given for you in exchange for a money that you hand in to them. And after a year or so, it matures with a percentage that is riba based. So they give you 7% extra, this or that. And this is haram. Sukuk is the Islamic alternative, providing it is practiced correctly. So it is your participation in a project where they determine the capital of the project, and by buying a percentage of it, you own a percentage of that project for a fixed number of years. So it's not open or unlimited. So the agreement is that this 100 million euros project, you're buying 1 million, you have 1% sukuk for 3 years. After 3 years, because of your due diligence and you've studied the project, you believe that after 3 years it would have flourished and made profit. So after 3 years, they reevaluate the whole project and they say now it's 150 million euros. So your share is 1.5. You get 1 million euro and 500,000. This is permissible, providing that this is a true Islamic bank governed by a true, reliable Islamic Sharia board, and not those who just sign, stamp, and get delivered. No, they have to be real scholars who fear Allah and are known to give sound Islamic fatwas, and Allah knows best. Rayyan from the US.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
Sheikh, I have 4 questions.
Yes.
Number 1 is kind of odd question. Were there dinosaurs at the time of Prophet Adam alayhi salam?
Okay.
Number 2 is, how do we stop sinning, like regular sinning?
Okay.
Number 3 is Bismillahi wa ala barakatillah the correct dua before eating?
Bismillah wa ala barakatillah. Okay.
And the last question is why were parents of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in hell? Like because at that time there was no Islam.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan.
Barakallah fiqh. So, Brother Rayyan from the US had 4 questions, and some of the questions require a lecture. But in a nutshell, at Adam's times, were there dinosaurs? I wasn't there at the time. I am old, but not that old. Secondly, we can't say yes or no without evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah. So we cannot confirm or deny, because this is something we have no knowledge of. Now, yes, archaeologists can come and say, yeah, there were tyrannosaurs or dinosaurs or whatever names they just put from Latin, and they claim that they looked like this, and this is their science. But they can't prove that to us because they don't know when Adam was, peace and blessing be upon him. As most of them think that there was no Adam to begin with, that we are all the descendants of apes. And we have evolved from apes to this, which is nonsense. So we can't take the word for it, but at the same time, we cannot deny or confirm that there were any such things as dinosaurs at that time. Number 2, how do we stop sinning? This is an issue that depends entirely on the amount of iman in your heart. So this again needs a lecture. But in a nutshell, first of all, learn more about the beautiful names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. Learn more about Tawheed. We are doing, alhamdulillah, every Friday and Saturday, a live session on Thalathat al-Usul, which is in Aqeedah, which shows you and opens your eyes to who Allah is, what is Islam, who is the Prophet ﷺ. This strengthens iman in your heart. Thirdly, you have to surround yourself with righteous practicing Muslims, 24/7 hours, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Always be with the Muslims in the masjid or in the Islamic center. Engage yourself with ibadah, with the congregation. This weakens the desire for sins. And finally, add as many as you can to your schedule, reciting the Quran, making dhikr, and individual forms of worship. Night prayer, fasting Mondays and Thursdays and the white days, engaging in watching beneficial lectures, because this uplifts your iman and reduces your desire to sin, and Allah knows best. We have Faizan from India.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
I have few questions.
Yes, sir.
Number 1, is Ar-Rashid a name of Allah?
Okay.
Number 2, so I'm writing a book on lying. So I have 3 questions related to it. So my first question is, Islam permits lying in 3 cases. So lying in all of the rest of the cases is a major sin or a minor sin?
In other cases or in this one?
In other cases, not in these 3 cases, the other cases.
Okay.
The next question is, lying jokingly is also a major sin or a minor sin?
Okay.
Then last question is, what is the punishment for lying? As in Sahih Al-Bukhari, the book of funerals, the Prophet ﷺ said, I had seen a dream with, I saw a person sitting and another standing with an iron hook in his hand, pushing it inside the mouth of the former.
I got your question. I will answer you, inshallah. Barakallah feek. So we have Abdul Rahman from Nigeria. Abdul Rahman? Okay, we lost Abdul Rahman. Nabiha from Saudi.
Hello.
Yes, Nabiha.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Nabiha. I'm from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah.
Yes.
I have one question. Is it important to read Surah Mulk every night?
Okay. Any more questions?
No.
I will answer you, inshallah. طيب. Rayyan's third question, is it authentic to say Bismillah wa ala barakatillah before we eat? The answer is no. The authentic hadith is just to say Bismillah. And the scholars differed whether we can say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim or just restrict ourselves to Bismillah. And the most authentic opinion is that you have to limit yourself to Bismillah, as this is what was reported from the Prophet ﷺ. His fourth question is, why are the parents of the Prophet ﷺ in hell? This question you do not ask me about. This question is something that the Prophet himself ﷺ told us about, and the hadith is in Sahih al-Imam Muslim. His father, a man came to him and said, "O Prophet of Allah, where's my father?" So the Prophet said, "Your father is in hell." How did the Prophet know? Allahumma salli wa sallim alayhi. Because Allah told him. So the man did not feel well about the answer. The Prophet said to him, "Your father and my father are in hell." And in another hadith, the Prophet wept one day, alayhi salatu wasalam. So they asked him, "Why are you weeping?" He said, "I sought permission from Allah to seek forgiveness for my mother, and He denied me from seeking forgiveness for her." Which means that, in accordance to the ayah in Surah At-Tawbah, that the Prophet and the believers are not permitted to seek forgiveness for those who died on idol worshipping, even if they were next of kin. End of story. Now, this was the Prophet's fatwa, alayhi salatu wasalam, not mine, not Sheikh XYZ. It was from the Prophet himself, alayhi salam. And it's not in a dubious book. It's in Sahih al-Imam Muslim, the most authentic book alongside with the Bukhari after the Quran. So why this is not our issue or problem? Because this is from Allah Azza wa Jal. It's a revelation. You can say that maybe because the people of Mecca had the religion of Ibrahim. This is why they were performing Hajj, they were doing Tawaf, and they had the original religion of Ibrahim of worshipping Allah on Tawheed. And his son Ismail was their forefather. And there was the religion of Judaism and Christianity, which they could have adopted anyone. So these religion of monotheism were there, but they failed to choose it. So those who failed to choose it would end up in hell. This might be a reason, I don't know. What I know is what the Prophet said to us, alayhi salam, we have to believe and comply, and Allah knows best. Abu Abdurrahman from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salatullah.
Sheikh, I have a number of questions, if you allow me to.
Yes.
The first question is on behalf of one of my friends. He asked me about drinking Laban.
About
so
what?
There's a dua, Laban.
Milk.
Yes.
Yes.
So the question is this just applicable to yogurt, or it applies to, halib? I don't know. So I don't know. I wasn't sure, so I said I will ask you, inshallah.
Okay.
And then the second question is, we have this practice in Nigeria during Ramadan. Top government officials send Ramadan packages and gifts to some other government officials, which is like from their own source of income. It is not from the government. So is this something that's allowed? And if it's not allowed, is it allowed for the family members to consume from the items? Is it allowed for the family members of that official who received this
Okay.
gift
Yes,
Sorry.
third question.
Jazakallah.
Alaikum salam. Okay, that's fine. Khalas. Faizan from India says, is Ar-Rashid one of Allah's name? And to my knowledge, at the moment, I don't think it is one of Allah's names. But if I recollect correctly, and if I remember correctly, that this is an issue of dispute. If I recall correctly, that this is not one of Allah's names because it's not authenticated in the Quran or in the Sunnah. And we cannot use a name to describe Allah Azza wa Jal, for example, Al-Hadi or Muhsin. These names are disputed upon. Some scholars call it names of Allah. Others say we need an authentic dalil from the Quran or from the Sunnah to prove it. So to my recollection, I'm not confirming this. I have to go back to my books and sources. My memory is not as accurate as it used to be to find the answer. So I would appreciate it if you can post this question on my website and I will give you the answer for sure, inshallah. We have Raja Ul-Haq from the UK.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamullah.
Alhamdulillah. How are you, bro?
I'm fine, Yahi. What can I do for you?
I just want to ask you a question regarding Eid prayer.
Yes.
The khutbah after the salah, is that mandatory or is it sunnah?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, it's no more.
I will answer you, inshallah.
Okay.
Barakallah fi. Hayyakallah. So Fizan's second question is lying a major sin? He says we know that we're allowed to lie in 3 cases. But other than these cases, would lying be a major sin? The answer is it depends. It can be major sin and it can be a minor sin. And among the minor sins is when you lie jokingly. And this is his third question. This is not permissible. And some say it is not recommended. But the most authentic opinion is lying jokingly is not permissible unless they know for sure that you're joking. In this case, it becomes not recommended. But even if they did not know, as long as you're joking and it's not something of seriousness, it's not a major sin, it's a minor sin. As for the punishment for lying, he recalls a hadith that the Prophet saw in one of the visions, a man standing behind another one sitting down and coming with a piece of iron and putting it in his mouth and tearing it to the back of his neck. And then he does the same with the other side. And when he does this, the other one heals, and he keeps on doing this until the day of judgment. This is in the grave. So the Prophet asked, who is this and why is this being done to him? And they tell him, the angels with him, that this is from a person who lies, and his lie spreads all over the globe. So this fits like a glove the people of the media who spread fake news, as they say, the people on WhatsApp, the people on social media, where people take whatever they say and publish it and relay it. This falls in that category. But this is only for such mass lies. Other lies depend on their gravity, and Allah knows best. Rayyan.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
I have one more question, Sheikh.
Okay.
My grandmother, she says the last 2 ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah, Amna Rasulu, after every prayer. And I just want to ask, is this a bid'ah, an innovation?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, Jazakallah.
Wa jazak. Okay, so Baniha from Saudi Arabia, she says, is it authentic to recite Surah Al-Mulk? تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. 30 verses of it every single night. The answer is yes. The Prophet ﷺ told us about 30 verses, a chapter of 30 verses that protects the one who memorizes it from hell. And it protects the person who recites it every night from the torment of the grave and from the fattan, as he said, alayhi salatu. So definitely it is a confirmed sunnah, and I don't know of Muslim who goes to bed every night without reciting it from the beginning to the end. Abu Abdurrahman from Nigeria, he says the word laban. What does it mean? Actually, in Arabia, laban is milk. The normal milk we know. Nowadays, we have yogurt, we have sour milk, and in Arabic, we call this laban, and the other one, we call it halib. So milk now is not referred to as laban. When you go to the market in Arabia nowadays, you say, give me a bottle of laban. He'll give you sour milk, which has salt in it. But this is not the Arabic real meaning of it. Laban means halib, means milk, the one that you get straight from the animal without treating. His second question is that in Ramadan, there's a practice in his country where people give officials gifts. And these gifts is given either through other government officials, but from their own pocket money. So what's the ruling on that? Well, it depends. If before assuming these positions, they used to give one another gifts during the month of Ramadan or during Eid, some food, some clothes, some gifts of any sort, there's no problem in that. But now, because this particular person is an official, whatever you give to him is dubious. We look at it with suspicion. Why did you give this official? Not give me, I'm the sheikh. Give me something. He said, well, sheikh, you're not in a position to help me or to scratch my back so that I can scratch yours. Then you're giving this official because you intend something. Like when I go and visit an official in a company and I buy him a set of expensive pens. Why am I giving it to him? I don't know him. Am I giving it to him because his eyes are black or blue? No, I'm giving it to him because of the position. Someday, one day, I'll utilize this gift in some form of service or favor he can return to me. This is a bribe. But if this gift is normal and natural, before he assumed that position, every single Ramadan you used to give it to him, there's no problem in that. What about if it is a bribe and he took it and brought it home? His family can eat from it because it's totally halal for them. It's haram only on the one who took it and earned it, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. We have, Raja'ul Haq from the UK says, the Eid prayer, we usually pray 2 rak'ahs of Eid, and afterwards the Imam gives one khutbah, as according to the Sunnah. Some places they give 2 khutbahs. So is this khutbah, or are these 2 khutbahs considered to be mandatory or Sunnah? No, these khutbahs are mandatory for the Imam to give, because this is part of the ritual. But it is not mandatory for the worshippers to sit and listen. So you pray the 2 rak'ahs, the Imam starts to give the khutbah, you can leave if you wish. Of course, this is not recommended, because this is once in a lifetime, in a year, that you hear this grand sermon. But if you want to leave, your prayer is done, your obligation is done, and you're not sinful for that. Rayyan's last question was, his relative recites the last 2 ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. So is this an innovation or a sunnah? No, definitely this is an innovation. It is not to be recited after any fard prayer. It is to be recited before you go to bed. The Prophet said, whoever recites last 2 ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah at night, it will suffice him. One group of scholars said it would suffice him, meaning from night prayer. He doesn't have to pray or offer night prayer, because this is as good as praying night prayer. And the other most authentic opinion is that it would suffice him from any contact with shaitan. He would not be able to harm him, because he said these 2 ayahs as a protection, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Asadullah from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. How are you?
Salam wa barakatuh. Hayyak Allah, akhi. What can I do for you?
Sheikh, I have just one question.
Yes, sir.
My question is, I'm confused about these modern day Western scholars, especially here in Canada where I'm from. And it's like some of them are contradicting each other in the way you have to follow certain rulings. So I want to go back to the original real scholars in Islam. And the only ones I know are Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, and Sheikh Al-Albani. I was wondering if you could give a list of a few other scholars as well, because these are the only 3 trusted scholars that I know of, and possibly recommend some books in English for people like me who don't understand Arabic. That's all.
Barakallahu feek. Brother Asadullah, question is very delicate. And unfortunately, some, I won't say all, some of the da'is, the students of knowledge, whether in Canada or in the US, due to the media, social media, due to the internet, due to the publicity, and due to the thirst of the people to some form of knowledge, they have been inflated way above their actual size. And this is not a problem. People inflate us more than our actual size. The problem is when it gets into your head and you actually think that, whoa, I have grown out of Salafiyah. I can say things. I'm not obliged to listen to scholar so-and-so or imam so-and-so. I am Rambo. This is totally wrong. And unfortunately, the people in Northern America and in some parts of Europe are misguided by such people. They're students of knowledge. They're not scholars. And so many of them, you would not miss a single lecture without finding a list of wrong things they're saying. So what you're doing, Asadullah, is the right thing. Go back to the real scholars. The scholars who had passed away, who died, so that you are certain that they won't be influenced with money, with power, or intimidated to say something haram. Go with the scholars who are consistent. Don't go to people who camouflage and change colors. So 20 years ago, they used to say tomatoes, and now they say tomatoes. And they keep on changing their positions according to the highest bidder. Stick with those who are consistent to the Quran and to the Sunnah with the understanding of the favorite 3 generations. So Sheikh bin Baz, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh Al-Albani, these were the top 3 that the Ummah were guided by in contemporary times. You have Sheikh Salih Al-Fawzan, you have Sheikh Abdul Karim Al-Khadir, you have Sheikh Abdul Rahman Al-Barrak, you have so many of shuyukhs here and there that you can, not only in Saudi Arabia, there are so many shuyukhs in Egypt, in Kuwait, in Jordan, elsewhere, that you can follow. But you have to always have in the back of your mind that no one is sacred. We respect them, we love them. They know much more than we do, but we have to filter whatever anyone says in accordance with the Quran and the Sunnah. And the majority of the scholars who follow the Quran and Sunnah would point out and say that this is right. If someone says one opinion that does not relate to the others and it doesn't sound logical and it's not complying with the Quran and Sunnah, definitely you respect that person who is from the great scholars, but this opinion of his, we do not follow, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet tomorrow, same time, I'll leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.